Good morning, everybody. All right, we're going to change things up a little bit.
Yes,
Elle and I have talked about it.
We have.
And I would like to start with a word of prayer, if that's okay with you. And I would like your help in it. So if you can stand up, find a hand to hold. Make sure we don't have a break. So everybody must touch somebody. Okay. Bow your head. Take a breath. Almighty, I thank you for this morning. I thank you for this gathering of powerful women. I thank you for the space to be here, to be present. I thank you for the knowledge that we have, the knowledge we don't have, the knowledge we're gathering. I thank you for the inspiration, for the leadership, for the sisterhood. I pray for the conversation Ellen and I will have today, that it will hit hearts in the way that it's supposed to, that women will walk out of this room today being different than they walked in, that we will all go forward more boldly, more audaciously, and more unapologetically. I command in this room the spirit of women who have gone before us, who have led the way for us to be here today, and I pray that we'll hold them up in the spirit of power. In this I pray, amen.
Amen.
All right, thank you. Now to stop my earring from jingling.
Oh, you did fine, you did fine.
Back to the fashion, all right.
We will talk about the outfit at the end.
Yes.
There is a lot of information about this outfit, typically. Boz, when we talked, I joked with you that I've been following your career, not only in the news, but in conferences. You know, one panel after another, one conference after another, many of them at Fortune. And I joked with you that if you had asked me before we talked, I wouldn't have been able to describe what you did. You know, it's something with headphones, something with soda, something with ride sharing and ethics, but it wasn't until we talked about how we wanted to present ourselves today that it occurred to me that what is secret about you, what is magic about you in every job you've ever had is that you know how to help people feel a certain way. Which is not something I'd ever really thought about in terms of marketing before. So I thought we could just start. Faith is clearly a big part of your life, but I thought we would just start in a very general way with how some of the bigger themes of your life, like faith, works in your work.
Well, yeah, that's an interesting way to put it, you know, making people feel a certain way. I certainly lead with my heart and lead with my gut, sometimes in ways in which people don't agree with
Okay.
or don't trust, you know. But I feel that, you know, there's actually no way for me to be except in all of my feelings. You know, I'm in the feelings business is really what I'm in. And it is a part of course, the data collection and creating strategy and, you know, writing all the plans that are needed in order to move a business or people in a certain way. But moving them means taking the emotion and transferring it this way or that way. It can be, you know, feelings of love. It can be feelings of hope. It could be feelings of fear. Desire, all of them, all of the emotions. And so for me, it's been a journey of that, really. So it hasn't necessarily been about the specific product or the specific company, but how is the audience and how are the consumers feeling and how can I utilize some of that emotion to move them forward. And for me, I mean, that it has been the cornerstone of my own career, just personally. you know, in that I do trust my feelings.
Right.
I am an emotional person. I'm a woman of faith. I use that in many ways. I feel that if we were all more open about our feelings,
Yes.
that we might have a more empathetic society. You know, it's not that my faith is greater than your faith or that your experience is greater than my experiences. If we shared that more openly and better understood what drives us, then we might actually work better together.
You strike me as someone who is such a mood reader isn't the right term, but someone who's able to really detect and name emotions in other people.
Yeah.
What are the technical tools that you use to help you do that at scale?
I don't know if they're technical tools.
Right, right.
You know?
Yeah.
It's a little bit of,
Okay.
see if the wind is moving.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
Some people called it witchcraft in the past. You know?
Yeah.
I was recently in Scotland, and I went to a place for lunch called the Witchery. And I thought it was kind of just cool until I found out that they used to burn witches there. And I was like, oh! You know, and I was like, all right, well, let's just change this energy right here, you know?
Right.
Gather all of that. But I think this is the amazing thing about women, you know, and our power, which has, over the centuries, sort of ebbed and flowed in what was acceptable. And we are coming into another phase of our power, which we do need to utilize all of our feelings, all of our emotions, and not try to quantify so much about, you know, what the actual technical reasons are or the data that supports the work. That if we return to that place of intuition, we actually will probably recapture our power.
So take us back to Colorado Springs. You've had this incredible life, and I have a path here. I'd like to go from Colorado Springs back to Africa.
Yes.
Let's start there.
Okay, Colorado Springs, let's see, all right. Well, my family moved there when I was 12 from Ghana. Both my parents were Ghanaian. And as you can imagine, I kind of stood out, not because of a full pink outfit, but because of a full black girl. And it was an interesting moment in time because, as we all remember being 12, you know, you really don't want to be that different from anybody else. And my mother, in her power, was very conscious of making sure that we understood what and who we are, right? And how unique and special and wonderful that is. And it wasn't in the telling of things, it was in the behavior. You know, she didn't say things like, hold your head up high or walk into the room boldly. She didn't say those things. It was in her actions. You know, things like when when I had a sleepover or friends came over, she didn't dim our culture. She didn't order pizza, unfortunately. You know, my little 12-year-old self was like, why can't we have pepperoni, you know? And she would make hot pepper soup and make these little white children just red, you know? It was very embarrassing for them and for me, you know? Yeah. But the power of that experience just meant that I understood that I didn't have to change for the audience.
Right.
You know, that I didn't, and obviously now as an adult, I can look at that and see what that meant. But those lessons I was learning at that time without realizing, because I think if she had said it, I probably would have ignored it.
Right.
You know, or rebelled against it or something like that.
She just did it. She just did
it. She made us do it. I have 3 younger sisters, and so the 4 girls, you know, we lived that. And throughout my life and then throughout my career, I have then been very able to move into spaces in which maybe it was expected for me to assimilate into culture.
Right.
You know, whereas then I said, well, no, we're not going to have the pizza. We're going to have this hot pepper soup right here.
Yes, yes.
You know, and make sure that it felt like I was showing up, right, and not dimming it down for anybody else. And it has then, of course, taken me all the way to my experiences now, where I am blending both my professional life as well as my personal life and my personal interests in the continent of Africa and raising awareness, raising a changed narrative about the continent and making sure that we are all doing right by Africans.
See, this is very important. A couple years ago, I was on a reporting trip to Lagos, and armed only with my ancestry DNA test, I announced that I was, 49% West African and immediately burst into tears because it's such a painful thing to be African American and not Ghanaian American, or not Nigerian American. And I was immediately claimed by everybody on the streets of Lagos. I was their cousin and it was fine and I could be there. And so I am really moved by the idea that we could be part of a narrative that reclaims, that helps doesn't help Africans, but helps us all understand who Africa really is in the world and who Africans really are.
But I think it's a community responsibility, actually.
It is.
I don't believe it's, up to Africans or up to African Americans or Black Brits or any African in the diaspora. I believe it's us. All of us are responsible.
Right.
We cannot remove the history of what has happened over the course of time and pretend as if somebody else did it and therefore it's no longer our responsibility.
Right.
It's our current responsibility. It's why we see the challenges in diversity and inclusion, and we have issues, amongst even our sisterhood about whether or not, Black women come along in the journey of feminism.
Right.
And I think it's up to us to reverse, the narrative that has been told and embrace Africa as the power that it is, and especially African women.
And that means African women's issues, that means their art, their culture, their business, their commerce.
Yes, their health.
Opening, and their health.
Yeah.
And their Wakanda t-shirts.
Correct. I love the Wakanda t-shirt.
It's
good fashion.
Thank you. We only have a minute left. I know everybody wants to know about the outfit. Could you please just explain how it works?
Oh my gosh, really? I'm like, okay, it's a two-piece outfit, okay? It's not just a jumpsuit. It's very complicated. There's a zipper here and there's a zipper here to get me all up into it. But yeah, and of course, you got to do a little sparkly shoe because why not?
Absolutely beautiful. Perfect. Thank you so very much. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you for being in communion with us.